Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this press conference of Minister of the Interior, Brunner and Rantanen, and Commissioner for Internal Affairs and Migration, Magnus. We start with brief remarks, and then we'll have some time for questions. Now, Minister, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you, Commissioner Brunner, of your visiting for us, which is comes to an important time for Finland and Europe, and this forms a good continuation of our President von der Leyen visit. And I'm very thankful of our fruitful cooperation. And also I would like to thank the whole Commission of the supporting us as an eastern border country, and also support for Ukraine. And you have been making whole Europe more aware of the threat of what Russia makes to us also in Europe. In Finland, we have had very long understanding of this threat, which comes from Russia, and nowadays we can say that this threat is against the whole Europe, and not one single country should think that if you are further from the borderline that you are safe, because this preparing of this threat needs to be the whole European mission. And frontline countries will protect the whole Europe. Today we visit our eastern border, and it is also our border, but it's also EU's external border and NATO's external border. And as we could see, it's quite calm at this moment, but of course tense. But we need to be prepared very rapidly changes also in our borders. Threat of instrumentalized migration, it remains very high, the threat, and that's why the border have been closed, our border crossing points, since December 2023, and at this moment the border crossing points will stay closed also. Then we are also making this barrier fence on our eastern border on those areas where the risk of instrumentalized migration is highest. And we will protect our border in every inch and in every way that we just can. Commission support for our country, frontline countries, is necessary, and we are very happy that we have seen and saw this support from you in all way long. And recent happens in Ukraine and even in Poland have shown the need for the also strengthen our borderline with new technologies. We actually read every day of the destructions of what Russian drones does in Ukraine and in front lines and in populated areas. And it's not only warfare, but they are used also the hybrid influencing. They are used in intelligence, sabotage, territorial violations, smuggling, and other illegal actions. So in eastern flank, in eastern countries, eastern border countries, we need to have tools more strengthening this drone and anti-drone actions. After all this, I said I want to underline that Finnish security situation is at the moment stable, and our authorities and our defense forces are actioning by the normal circumstances. But of course, we are all the time waking up 24/7. We are eyes and ears open if something is changing. We will also talking about the migration today. We talked this EU Pact on Migration and Asylum that Finland is on time with this, and these legislations become applicable summer 26, and Finland is doing this at this time. And we also think it's very important that every country will follow these rules as we do. But then there needs to be continuous actions to decrease number of asylum applications and number of illegal migration towards to European Union territory. And Finland wants to also underline that we need to look those innovative solutions, which includes, for example, the asylum applications and the protection in third countries, and also, and those are near to countries of origin. And also we need to find these innovative solutions, for example, the return hubs in third countries, and look the possibilities of for example, the safe ports. We also think that efficiency of returns is one of Finnish priority, and it's security issue as well, because we need to be able to return people who are illegally in the countries, those who are a threat to our security, and those who are committing crimes. They need to get returned very fast and effectively. And Finland is also welcoming all the European actions for these goals, and we are supporting this. And of course, these returns making efficiency, it needs companions from the third countries, and there is a lot of very significant role Commission. So there is a lot of on the plate at the moment with the security and with the migration, and I want to thank you, Commissioner Brunner, from this day's discussions and your visit, and I hope that our cooperation continues as good as it's been all your Commission times. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Minister, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I also want to say thank you for the good cooperation, not only today, of course. First of all, thank you for taking me to the border today. That was really incredibly interesting to see firsthand what it's about. Not just listening to you, of course, because you're always very outspoken when it comes to the security issues and also migration issues, but especially when it comes to protecting the eastern border in Brussels or Luxembourg or wherever. But to see it firsthand, I think is really key. And thank you for the good cooperation we had in the last months, last almost a year now since I came in office. You've been there for longer, but thank you for that really. And your input is really very much appreciated and very important also for the discussions we have on a European level. I've already traveled to several borders on the eastern flank, so in order to get a better understanding. I think that is what's key for the discussions we have on a European level, what the necessities are also, how to support the member states who are at the eastern border. That is, I think, very key. And the challenges we are facing, they are big, as you mentioned. They're significant, from threats to critical infrastructure, cyber attacks, weaponization of migration, so a lot of different threats. And we need an integrated response to all those threats. And we've seen, as you mentioned, the latest provocation that happened in Poland. That's another example that we must be prepared, and that is important. And that's where Finland, of course, is always a front runner, being prepared. That's one of the strengths Finland always has had and has now as well. Finland is one of the best prepared member states always. So the aim of my visit today also is to find best practices also for other member states, to bring that not only back to Brussels but also to all the other member states. Maybe the eastern, couple of words on the eastern border protection. We always have to keep in mind, and that's also something for the discussions in Europe, that in Finland you're dealing with an extraordinary situation. The longest border with Russia, I learned that from you, of course, right at the beginning. The 1,300 kilometer of border, that's quite something, I have to say. And we flew over at least part of the border, not all of it, today. And we put forward in December already measures to support Finland in their response to these hybrid threats, with 50 million euros in funding, legal support also. This is on top of the 30 million euros the Commission provided in 2024. And currently, of course, we are looking into more ways that we can support the member states, following also the letter we received and which was sent by Finland and others 2 weeks ago. And of course, now we have to look into that, how we can best support the member states. And in our proposal in July on the new modern European budget for the next 7 years, so the next MFF, we are tripling the investments when it comes to border protection, when it comes to migration. And I think it shows, the MFF shows where the priorities are for the next years to come. Border management, protection, migration management altogether is key. And for Finland, it would mean 1.6 billion euros, of course, for the whole MFF period. And just to compare it, it was 0.6 billion so far, and in this present MFF period, and it will be 1.6 billion in the next period. We've also seen a big increase in hybrid threats. This calls, I think, for a firm and a swift response also to these hybrid threats. Most of all, we need to have I would say, all of EU response. You were mentioning that as well before. I think in all other member states we have to be more aware of the situation. There can be no question of Finland facing the threats on its own. Of course, we have to have a all of EU response to that, and that is why an important part of my work is to make sure, actually, the sense of urgency and the sense of awareness also I see here in Finland is shared in all parts of the European Union. You mentioned migration. Migration is, of course, also key, especially when it comes to fighting illegal migration. You were mentioning the big reform, the Pact for Asylum and Migration, and it's all about implementing this Pact now. I know the Pact is not 100% perfect, of course not, nothing is perfect, but it's a very solid and good basis we have on a European level, and I think it's really key to implement this Pact as soon as possible. And we also try to front load some of the pieces of the elements of the pact that is important too. You were mentioning the returns, the return legislation, the regulation that is really also important, because it's not acceptable that only 1 out of 5 people who have a return decision are actually being returned. Finland is doing better than some other member states, but still I think it's just not acceptable. That's why we have to be quicker there as well. And with this new pact altogether, I think we will have a swifter asylum procedure. That is also important, be quicker there as well. Stronger external border protection, because to get rid and to make Schengen also work again, not great again, make Schengen great again, but make it work again. I think we really have to work on that, on the external border protection as well, and also we will have less illegal movements within the European Union, and that will of course also help member states like Finland. Returns I mentioned. I think that is key, that we are maybe a bit quicker there as well. We delivered the return legislation within the first 100 days, and now it's up to the Parliament and the Council to decide and to adopt this as quickly as possible. Because that's all about bringing our European house in order. And then that's the first step, but then of course we have another step. There's the external dimension. I think we need to get engaged more with third countries. That's why we also delivered on that safe third country concept, safe country of origin. That is also important, to have innovative solutions, as you mentioned at the end of the day. And I think we have to step up there also time-wise a little bit more. I always call that a sort of migration diplomacy, putting migration on the table when it comes to agreements and negotiations with third countries is, I think, key, and we have to use migration more in these discussions. So together, I think we have set out clear rules on a European level, a clear course also, and the destination is also clear. The EU has to regain control over what is happening in the European Union. We have to get this control back. We were very, very much sort of supportive, I would say, 10 years ago when we had the first crisis, but without any rules. The European Union took a lot of responsibility, but with no rules, with no system in a way, and that's why we need this system so as quick as possible. Secondly, those with no right to stay in the European Union will be made to leave. We have to decide who is coming to the European Union and who is leaving, not the smugglers. It has to be us to decide, and we will continue to fulfill, of course, also our responsibilities we have when it comes to fundamental rights and all that. There is no question about that, but someone who has no right to stay in the European Union has to leave at the end of the day. I leave it there. Thanks very much. I think we're both happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very much. Indeed, now we have some time for questions. And both here in the press room. Yes, you're welcome. And please go to the microphone, right? Yes.
Antonia Mari, MTV News here in Finland. First, you said that you were looking now for new ways to support the member states. What new concrete support could EU give Finland? And did you discuss the wall of drones that Ursula von der Leyen talked about last week? When could we see that happening here in Finland? And then I also like to ask from Minister Rantanen in Finnish, I would like to have an answer. Niin minkälaista konkreettista lisäapua on tulossa EUlta nyt Suomelle, jos katsotaan itärajaa, ja milloin voisi toteutua tämä drone-seinä? Thank you.
Shall I start? Very happy to do so. Thank you. How do we support Finland? First of all, mentioning again and making clear what you said in the beginning, that Finland does everything to protect the Finnish border, which is also our common European border, of course. That's why we are so glad that Finland does its job in such a great way. How can we support? I mentioned the figures already from the past and from this year, and also the MFF, the next one. I think we can support politically, on the one hand, we can support financially, of course, and we can support also operationally. What do I mean with that? Operationally with Frontex. Frontex is key, I think, in supporting the member states. And then when it comes to the drones, of course, it's also about financing. It's always about the finance. And being a former finance minister, I know what I'm talking about, unfortunately, but that's the case. I think we have to look into the possibilities to provide additional money, definitely, and we have to assess the needs of the member states first. So assessing the needs, and then according to the needs of the different member states, we have to decide where we find some more money to support, because as the President, as you mentioned, the President said in her speech also, it will be key to have also this, it must go hand in hand in a way. Defense on the one hand, security on the other hand. So I'm sure we will find possibilities and solutions to support also the drone war.
Jos mä jatkan tästä vielä suomeksi, niin jos katsotaan rajaturvallisuutta, niin siinä on tietysti useita eri elementtejä, joilla sitä tehdään. Ja tietysti nämä miehittämättömät ilma-alukset, droonit on yksi osa siitä. Ja tästä itse asiassa on tietysti Ukrainan oppienkin, kun Ukrainasta opitaan, niin totta kai on selvää, että meidän täytyy katsoa, että pitääkö meidän vahventaa myöskin sekä drooni- että antidroonitoimintaa nimenomaan täällä koko itäisellä laidalla, joka kattaa siis Suomesta sinne Puolaan asti. Tästä on pari viikkoa sitten lähetetty Suomen, Baltian maiden ja Puolan kanssa yhteinen kirje komissioon, jossa nyt sitten luvattiin, että tätä tuetaan. Ja niin kuin tässä komissaari totesi, niin luonnollisesti lisärahoitusta tämä tarvitsee, mutta sen pidemmällä emme vielä ole tässä, että kuinka paljon ja milloin olisi tulossa, mutta sitä me tässä työstämme eteenpäin.
Thank you very much. Yes?
Sure, I can agree.
Yeah, sure.
Daniel in Svenska Yle. A question to the Commissioner, maybe a follow-up. So the letter that you received and the assessment that is ongoing in Brussels, what's the timetable, and has anything changed now when we saw the provocation and the incident in Poland last week? Will it, in light of that, will something happen faster now, or?
Of course, incidents like that always sort of improve the speed in a way. But we were of course already aware of the situation as minister, and ministers also from other member states, prime ministers, do their best, of course, to alert in a way. And we are, of course, alerted, and we know what's going on. But yes, you are right. Incidents like in Poland, of course, make things even more speeding up the whole process a little bit. So, and it makes us even more aware of the critical situation.
But no timetable?
No, no concrete timetable, I'm sorry. I can't tell you a date, an exact date, but we have to be quick, yes, and incidents like in Poland, of course, in a way help to speed it up.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yeah. There behind you. Yeah.
Annika Lindström, Hufvudstadsbladet. Commissioner Brunner, how worried are you about Russia's capability to mobilize migrants against European borders, and are there any specific borders that you are worried about at this moment? Thank you.
Yes, we do see this instrumentalization and weaponization, actually, of migrants at the Russian border, but especially, to be precise, on the Belarusian-Polish border. That worries us a lot. It's not the only border where Russia and Belarusian try to weaponize migrants and use migrants actually as a weapon against the European Union. But I saw it firsthand at the Belarusian-Polish border, where actually state actors came up to the fences and to the border with migrants, cutting the fences and pushing migrants over the border, which is just not acceptable. So yes, we do see incidents at that border, not on the Finnish border, because as Minister said, that was closed. So was a good sort of thing to do in a way to prevent that. But we see other borders and border crossings where migrants are actually used as a weapon against the European Union.
Thank you. And we still have time for you, yeah.
Jyrki Hara from YL News. I've read in the media that EU Commission is considering or preparing even a ban on tourist visas for the Russian citizens. Is this EU-wide ban something actually could happen in the near future? Jos mä voisin kysyä saman ministeriltä, että onko tällainen kaikkien EU-maiden yhteinen matkustuskielto venäläisille turisteille jotain, mitä Suomen hallitus haluaa komission edistävän?
Well, we saw quite an intensive drop of the visa issuing in the last years, which is good. We went from 5 million down to, what did I say, Laura? I don't know. 500,000, yeah, sorry. So from 4 million to 500,000, so there's been a substantial drop. It's, as you know, visa is competence of the member states. So there is no possibility for the European Union to have a complete ban on that. What we're doing is revising or presenting our new visa strategy by the end of the year, but that's more about the migration part, where we want to put the visa policy on the table, as I mentioned before, when it comes to all the agreements, all the discussions, and putting migration on the table, putting our leverage possibilities on the table, and that's visa as one example. But for now, it's the member states' competence to do that. We see, to be precise again, we see some member states where the numbers are going up a little bit, and that worries us. And we are, of course, talking to these member states whether that's necessary or not.
No, ehkä jatkan tästä sen verran, että sinänsähän Suomi on nämä turistiviisumit jo ajat sitten lakannut myöntämästä, ja niin kuin tässä komissaari viittasi, niin tietyissä maissa kuitenkin edelleen nähdään turismia ja nähdään jopa nousua niissä numeroissa. Ja siinä mielessä tietysti tämä on näiden maiden päätettävissä, mutta että kyllä varmasti voisi olla kovin hyvä erityisesti tässä tilanteessa, että näissä maissa, joissa edelleen venäläisiä lomailemassa käy, niin he tulisivat tähän rintamaan nyt tässä vaiheessa mukaan, jotta myöskin saataisiin tätä kautta painetta kasvatettua Venäjälle.
Thank you very much. And now it's time for us to close the event. So thank you very much all of you for attending, and have a very nice rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.